Hey, how you doing? Neil from Build Hunt Eat Grow. How you doing? This video is about the double ferret carry box. Now, I built this over about 3 days out of scrap plywoods that I had available in my garage from previous projects, and some of the hardware that I used on this, or some of the ferret box furniture, let's call it, was bought from a local hardware store. Now, if you're in Australia, you can guess probably which one. This is grade A marine ply from a supplier called Marine Ply WA, or Western Australia. Just a shout out to those guys because they're amazing. They've helped me out with a lot of plywoods over the last few years for various projects in my home, and also this has been built from their grade A plywood as well. This plywood is really good, and it doesn't just feature good veneers, it is absolutely solid, and it works really well through a table saw or a circular saw. It routes really well, it stands up beautifully as well. So I do urge anyone who's going to build anything like this to work with quality timber or plywood, because it will make your life so much easier in the process of building the box. The first bit of building this essentially was finding the right thickness of plywood. So I used 15mm marine ply, and I didn't actually work off of any plans at all. So I just got the tape measure out and just measured up what I had there. I'd seen a few pictures of some ferret boxes online, but I didn't actually work to any plans at all. I just had a picture in my head of what I wanted it to look like, and I just went to work. So yeah, I immediately started working out, you know, the front, the back, or the front and the sides, and the base, and the partition in the middle as well, which you can see here. And basically, I then started cutting the bits of timber that were going to be used. So as you can see here, I've opened it up, and there's the partition there. So there's two. We just fold these down. As you can see, there's a partition in there, and there's 2 compartments, one for each ferret, and there's some bedding there ready for these 2 behind me to test out the ferret box. If you're going to use a table saw, just be really careful. It's probably the most dangerous bit of kit I have in my little workshop there. It doesn't look much like a workshop yet, but it will. That's part of the build element of this channel, as well as many other things. Anyway, I digress. I came up with the idea that, you know, I didn't want curved doors on the back to hinge, because that would have been a bit of an engineering nightmare for me. So I decided to put this strip on the back. So to eliminate this piece, or to separate this piece from the lids of the project, which ended up being to another piece of timber entirely. But this allowed me to then basically create this curve in the box, which fits against your body when you're walking out, when you're hunting with the ferrets in the box. And what it means is that it doesn't swing around your body too much. It actually just fits your body, and the ferrets have a much more comfortable ride, I suppose. So yeah, so I cut this section here, and also the bottom section as well, to fit the same radius. And to cut that radius, I just used an electrician's snake that I have in my toolkit, and basically just measured the middle of that curve, and then measured from each side, and then measured up from there as well, just to make sure that it was an equal curve, or as equal as a curve I could find. And that was just on the fly. I just thought, how am I going to make this work? I need to get this done, so that's what I used. I actually used some pocket screws and a pocket hole jig to build the sides of the box and to secure those into the base. So once I had this radius set, I then went about finding a piece of timber to put on the back section here, and this is 6mm marine ply, and some of the other boxes I've seen use other thicknesses, but 6mm was all I had. So I took a bit of a risk, and I decided that I was just going to start clamping this piece of timber onto the bottom of the ferret box here and the top, and I used some pipe clamps and some G clamps for that. Obviously for this section the G clamps worked really well because, you know, the size of the clamps could be relatively small really, but on the back here, you know, I had quite a distance to clamp this to the front of the box, so I just used 3 pipe clamps. And that worked really well as well. There was a little bit of cracking and a little bit of splitting of this piece of ply that went on the back of the box, but not much. And you know, I just thought, well, there's only one way to find out if this is going to work. So I basically just clamped it onto the box just to see what would happen. There was a little bit of splitting, so I actually just, and that was on the inside of the box, so I just sanded that off, and you know, the splitting ceased. So and as I began to tighten it up, it began to take some form, which was great. So I decided to leave that overnight and then come back in the morning just to see what it had done overnight, and it had actually stayed in place. So when I took the clamps off, it had a memory to it, which then meant I could then take it off and glue it up and then clamp it back in place. And then put a series of wood screws in here. Now, I did actually take the opportunity to drill pilot holes for that piece as well, because, you know, if you're drilling into plywood and there's no pilot hole, then the chances are that screw is just going to take up all of that room, go between the glued sections of the ply, and then it's going to split the plywood, and that's not what you want at all. Now, if you do get any splitting of the plywood, if you are making one of these, gluing wood glue into the crack, just open the plywood up with a flat screwdriver, put a lot of glue in there, and then clamp it closed and wipe off the excess glue. Leave it for, you know, a couple of hours and come back, and then that will just be re-glued. So if you do get any splitting, that's what I recommend you do. So yeah, so once I'd you know, put that back on or glued that section onto the box, I could then use just a hand cut saw just to take the edges off there, and it actually cut in the profile of the box as well. So I'd rather just have it set into the box and then cut it, because then I know it's true to the actual length that it needs to be for the box, rather than marking it up, removing it, cutting it, and then putting it back, and then trying to find that place where it needs to sit. to its cut length and being bowed at the same time. So I just thought that that was probably the most efficient way to do that. I've tried with the box to just to maintain the flow of the grain as well. So you can see on the sides, this grain follows across the top and back down the side and onto the bottom as well. And then the lids, actually the grain on the lids falls down to the front of the box here. So I decided just to let the grain flow where your eye would be on the box. I haven't really put many hinges on stuff before, and I thought, you know what, I'll have a go at trying to route them in. I got, you know, one of them okay, which is this one, but there's a few here that I went a little bit too crazy on. So what I did is I just mixed some wood glue and some shavings and some sawdust, and just mixed that up and pushed that into there just to take up those gaps. I'm not perfect, life isn't perfect, and that's just a bit of a learning curve for me. But you know what? If you don't look too close, they actually look all right. So then I got these hasps to put on the front of the box, and I was going with silver hardware because I found these hinges, they were nice and cheap. These hasps were really inexpensive as well, and I got these S-Beaners, which are really great for locking the hasp, because if you don't lock the hasp on these, if the hasp falls open and then the ferret decides that, you know, one of the ferrets decide they want to poke their head out and you've got a ferret on the loose, then you're in all sorts of trouble. To finish off the box, I decided that a nice bit of hard wax oil was probably the way to go. I had some hard wax oil from the marriage floor that I'd laid in our kitchen and our living room, and there's probably half a tin there. So, and the hard wax oil that I used, I think, was Fiddy's hard wax oil. It's not sponsored by Fiddy's, but I'm just saying it's an amazing product. After sanding it with a 120 grit sandpaper and then a 240, it actually just maintains a nice smooth finish on the timber, and the oil just brings out that grain and protects it from moisture and rainfall, really, because, you know, we're going to be hunting in the winter. for rabbits with the ferrets. So invariably it's going to get wet, and it's probably going to get a little bit grimy as well. So being able to clean it off, you know, with just some water and a cloth or a sponge or something like that. Honestly, you know, using an oil or something like that on marine ply is always a bit of a risk, because the marine ply is actually already treated with some chemicals anyway, to protect it from moisture. So I did do some tests on some scrap pieces of the A-grade marine ply that I got, and it worked really well. So that's why I decided to use it on this project as well. I was either going to put breather holes in the front, just simple holes for the ferrets to obviously maintain some air coming in and out of the box. But in this situation, I actually decided that I was going to route some mesh in the front of the box. So the way I did that is I actually got some pops for guttering from the local hardware supplier, and then I just drew the profile of those. Some of the ferret box designs I've found, they just put the mesh on the inside and they just fix it on the inside. But then you've got this this hole with the timber showing through. And that's not something that I thought would create a good finish, so I decided to do this. So I got my plunger router out again and plunger routed these in, and it's actually worked really well. And as you can see, like the silver hardware just runs right from the hinges on the back over the hasps with the S-beanies here, and also the breather holes at the front. Now with the strap, I decided to go with something that would look as natural as I could. I didn't want to spend too much again on the strap itself, so I got this natural Hessian type strap. It's made from natural fibres, and I think it just works really well with the colour of the box. It doesn't stick out too much, and of course I haven't got into leather working yet, and I say yet because I'd like to have a go at processing my own hides and things like that at some point. So I think that would be a really good learning curve for me as well, but we'll see about that. But the strap, I used some grommets and a grommet setting tool to actually put some grommets through this, because if I just put bolts through this, it probably wouldn't last too long. They'd tear through, and then I'd have problems with, this strap failing, and it's not something that I want to fail in a hurry or at all really. So yeah, I used a grommet setting tool, and I just used some scissors to cut some of the fibres out to make a hole. Used the grommet setting, the grommet and the grommet setting tool, and then used 1/4 inch bolts, which were 25mm or 20mm through the timber. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have any comments or questions, just stick them in the comments below, and I'll endeavour to get back to you as soon as I can. If you're into ferreting and you want to get into ferreting, or you have ferrets and you're frustrated with them and you're not quite sure how to deal with the behaviours that you've come across, then go and watch the Binka Beano bootcamp. I show you everything. It's unsanitized, and I show you exactly how I deal with the situations that I came up with. I was a complete novice in the beginning and never had ferrets before, so you see me from day one building the ferret cage that you can see behind me here, picking up the ferrets on the first day and getting them home, and then day one training started the next day. And you can see like how uncoordinated and how ill prepared I was and all that kind of thing. So you can sort of learn from my mistakes and my experience as well, and also you can see that I can absolutely empathise, if you're having problems with your ferrets, and you can also see how the ferrets can be trained in a training system just like a dog or any other animal, to respond to recall and to be crate trained, so you can get them into a box just by with a voice command. Leash training and training them up essentially for their first hunt on rabbits. So yeah, so if you're into that kind of stuff and you want to follow along, please subscribe, ring the notification bell, so when I make a video it will pop up on your feed. And again, if you've got any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.